Welcome back. So this is a part 3. So we just, part 1 was just discussing the study guide, giving an overall view. Part 2 of this study guide review was going over the 4 graphs. Part 3 is we're going to set up all these word problems. So let's get started. So the top one, let's read it twice. Remember, the first time we read it just for kind of understanding. The second time we read it and underline important information. So let's give it a read. A teacher bought 2 desks and 5 folders for $60. The teacher bought 6 desks and 4 folders for $70. What is the cost of each desk and each folder? Okay, now we're going to read it again and underline the important information. So a teacher bought 2 desks and 5 folders for $60. That's pretty important. The teacher bought 6 desks, 4 folders for $70. And we're finding the cost of 1 desk and 1 folder. Cool, let's set this sucker up. I'm going to use D for desk, and I'm going to use F for folder. You are welcome to use whatever 2 letters you would like. A lot of kids just like to use X and Y. I'm cool with that. Do you? So I'm going to use D for desk and F for folder. So D for desk and F for folder. So you can write that here for yourself. You can write it here for yourself. That's not absolutely needed, but you do need to know what your 2 variables stand for. So let's set this up. 2 desk, 2D, and that means she added stuff to the cart. 5 folders is $60. Cool beans. She went shopping again, or he went shopping again. 6 desks and 4 folders is $70. You now have everything you need to solve this. And this one's definitely set up for elimination. Now you would put both of these equations over here. And we know that this question's worth 10 points. And the beauty is you just earned 5 of the 10 points just by setting it up. To earn the other 5, you would need to solve it. And that's the next video. Okay, let's look at the next one. A coin bank has 45 coins, dimes and quarters only, worth $5.25. How many of each type of coin is there? Well, I'm going to use D for dime, and I'm going to use Q for quarter. So we have 2 things that they're mentioning. Physical coins, coins I literally could see in my hand, and value of coin, or the worth of the coins. Those are 2 different statements. So the first one I always recommend kids is write this down. Dimes and quarters, I have 45 of them. Dimes and quarters, they are worth $5.25. Most kids understand like that. One of these is correct, one of these is not quite correct. We need to tweak it a bit. So dimes and quarters, I have 45. Those are physical coins that you could see in your hand if I dumped 45 coins in your hand. That sentence is in fact correct. Good job. The next sentence needs to be tweaked a little. Because we're talking about value or worth, we need to talk about the value and worth of each one of these coins. Now a dime is worth 0.10, so 10 cents, and a quarter is worth 25. Congratulations, that is the setup for this system. This one is definitely set up for elimination as well. That's the next video when we solve these. So I'm going to write this over here. And congratulations, you just got 5 out of the 10 points just by setting it up. Congrats. Let's scooch this up and do the next 3. So the next one is that adventure question, the hiking question. So we went on 2 hikes. You could use H for one of the hikes and a different letter for the other hike. I'm going to say hike 1 is X, and I'm going to say hike 2 is Y. That's just what I'm choosing. You can choose whatever 2 letters you want. They just can't be H and H. If we say that both hikes are H, that is a huge assumption that both hikes were the same distance. And we don't know that. I mean, could be, but we don't know that to be true. So we're going to have to go with different variables, different letters. So you pick whatever 2 letters you want. So let's read this. The sum of 2 hikes was 72 miles, and the difference was 28. How long was each hike? The sum. Sum is a word that means add. So we're adding two things. We're adding these two hikes, and they're X and Y. So if I add these two hikes, I get 72. Cool, let's keep reading. And if I, subtract these two hikes, the difference of these two hikes is 28. Cool. You now have the setup, and this is definitely set up for the elimination method. Although you could tweak it and use substitution if you'd like. That's cool too. Okay? Next question. Let's see. We have the mixture question. Oh, and by the way, you should write those over here. You've now earned 5 out of the 10 points possible for this given question. Perfect. Cool beans. This one. So let's give it a read. The coffee shop has an 80-kilogram bag of Colombian coffee and Turkish coffee. So wait a minute. There's a bag with both of those mixed in there. Okay. Set. It sells for $9 a kilogram, this bag of the mix. So Colombian coffee alone, so solamente Colombian coffee sells for 12, and Turkish coffee alone sells for 8. How many kilograms of each are in the mix? I like to draw a picture. That's my start. So I'm going to draw 3 cylinders. So if I add the individual coffee, Colombian and Turkish, I'm going to make the mix. So I have Colombian coffee alone, which sells for 12. So there's a little price tag that has the number 12 on it, because all I see is Colombian. Turkish coffee alone sells for 8. So I've used the number 12 and I've used the number 8. And yeah, we really do have to read. Colombian coffee alone sells for 12. So that's the only thing I see. Turkish coffee alone sells for 8. And now we have this empty mixture cylinder and an empty price tag. So let's go back and see what we need. The coffee shop has an 80 kilogram. If I mix these two coffees, it's 80 kilograms. And the mix itself is $9. So this picture is not needed. You don't have to do it. But this picture is a great guide for us visual learners who need to see something a bit more than just, well, alphabet soup. All these words are a little bit cuckoo. They're a little bit much, right? So this is just a guide to help us set it up for success. So let's check it out. Colombian plus Turkish equals 80. So my first setup is Colombian plus Turkish equals 80. C plus T equals 80. That's my first sentence of math. Got it. My first sentence of math. Now the next one is about the cost, okay? So it's $12 per unit of the Colombian. $12 per kilogram. Per isn't a word that means multiply. So it's 12 times C. We're going to write that right under our C guy. Plus 8 times T. Now, we just multiplied here. Whatever we do to one, we do it to the others, right? 8 times 9 is 72, but put a 0 on it. 720. If you got that, congrats. That's your setup. That's 5 points out of the 10. So I'm going to write those over here. There you go. There's your setup. We have one final setup to do, and then this video will be done. Okay, so let me scooch this up. We have my Nicole and my Peyton. These are my kids' names. They're adults now. They are actually not 20 years apart. They are 5 years apart. So this is not necessarily indicative of their actual ages. So let's read this. It says Nicole is 20 years older than Peyton. In 3 years, Nicole will be twice as old as Peyton. How old are they now? The key to these questions is, one, don't panic. I used to cry all the time with word problems. Crying didn't help me. It makes me feel better, but it doesn't help me do the word problem, I'll be honest. I cry all the time. But it really doesn't help us set up a word problem. So we have to be calm, cool, and collected. We can do this, okay? So the key is the words is, was, were, and will be. These words let me know a secret. These words mean equal when we're doing a math problem. So I'm going to read this first sentence, which creates my first setup, okay? So Nicole is, Now for Nicole, I'm going to make Nicole N, and I'm going to make Peyton P. That just makes sense to me, right? So that, you can use X and Y if you'd like, but I just think it makes most sense to me to use N and P. So Nicole is to the left of the is, so Nicole, 20 years older than Peyton. Older means plus, someone put a plus down here, but than is a flip word. That tells me to put Peyton in the front and 20 in the back. Person first language here. So we have Peyton, add 20. So congratulations, that's your first setup. That's worth 2.5 points. The whole setup is worth 5 points. So second sentence. Is, was, were, will be, that's our equal. I see was is right here. In 3 years, comma, all of this happened. So we have Nicole on the left, we have Peyton on the right. In 3 years means plus 3, because that's in the future. Like if I asked you how old will you be in 3 years, you'd be like, okay, what's my current age? Add 3, right? So sometimes that helps if you put yourself in the word problem to kind of think it through. Twice is a word that indicates multiplying something by 3. And yes, the parentheses are needed to get the correct answer and the correct setup. So let's write that over here. Congrats to us. We now have it set up. That's 5 of the 10 points possible. And this one's definitely set up for substitution. Okay, come back for the next video. We're going to be solving these word problems. Bye. See ya.